Good morning, everyone. It's Yelena Kay from the Healing Light, www.healinglightlite.com.au. Just a quick entry. Absolutely wanted to say thank you to everyone who took opportunity to work with me and who are actually coming towards the end of the year, and it changes what we work on it. I wanted to say this because I've been asked this quite a few times recently. My main priority is always a counseling and a healing. So intuitive counseling, a bit different. This is where I feel, I see things for you. I see where your scars happen and what age, what we have to work through it and guide you to it. That you're actually self-realizing things will happen to you. And I had a client, I will say this, yesterday, and she's coming for quite intensive sessions at the moment now because she wants to work on herself and her own insecurities, what she's got inside of her. Her whole family has been here for a while with me for the last 3 or 4 years, off and on, and the other family member is here once a month. Seeing her to actually grow, and actually me just saying one prompt word and she actually gets it, and she's actually doing this, what I teach you to do at the first place. As much as I see things, what can happen to you from a psychic point of view, and I'll always say this to you, do not, and that's what I don't do, the mediumship. I only use it if I need to for something, or if there is a message for them. For example, if your particular family member died and you're grieving or you're missing, and I try to bring you a closure for particular things or issues what happened if you ask me about it, or sometimes they come in and I gauge it, what and how to deliver that message to you. My concentration is not on that, because my concentration of my work is absolutely on the counseling and the healing, because I want to teach you, and you know this, like you've seen this with me, I teach you to own it. I teach you about you because you're in a session, not them. And I teach you to own your story, own your life, own your mistakes, own your things what happened to you in your life. You cannot hate it. More you hate it, you're hating you. So when I talk about the heart and I say to you, go in your heart, I say to you for the reasons because we're trying to embody the mind, body, spirit within you. If we are hating something about what happened to us in life, we're hating the particular vibration, we're hating us because we were part of that program, part of that incident, what happened to you. I hope you follow me on this one. If you're not, if you have messages, ask questions, please message me back and ask me that I can explain it. So I'm teaching you to own it. Sometimes people come and see me and they say to me, can you fix it for me? Can you just fix it for me? Like everything what's happening in their life, can I fix it for them? I always say this, you have to take a responsibility. And I learned this while I was getting my own training for the business coaching. And it was like, I had to realize that responsibility is with me. My business coach is not going to be at home with me. They're there to help you with the things, give you the prompts. Just like when you go to uni, you still have to study. You still have to do the work. So I'm teaching you how to do it, number one. How to observe it, how to emotionally have a look of it, and how to have a look of it from a logical point of view. And I teach you all of those things because I'm not with you 24 hours a 7. Absolutely adore working with you, and the ones what I'm working and they see me, let's go say once a month or every 3-4 weeks, is beautiful. That's where it's like, we call it a top up, because life will happen, things will happen, triggers will happen, but I teach you how to sustain the good work what we're doing, the self-realization, that you don't need validation from outside world. Especially, and I'm a woman and I'll say this, especially with women, the shame and guilt inside of us is so embodied, like from a childhood where we were born, that we are not good enough, that there is always something wrong with us, I do talk about it, that they always say this, especially, in a religious way. Sometimes they will say to us, women are not good enough, they can't do this, they can't do certain things. I'm not saying that we have to do everything what the men are doing. There is reasons for it, why they are like that. They are physically sometimes stronger than us, and I'm absolutely okay with that, because I am in my receiving, I'm in my feminine energy. I don't have to push a wheelbarrow just because they're doing it. I allow them to be them, because they're not giving birth like I gave birth to my children. So I am not seeing them lesser of a person, of a human being. Neither than they should have seen us less of a human being, because we're not particularly doing all the things. I don't believe that we have to do everything the same way. With the men, and this is a message for women. In one of the videos I spoke about this. They're a person just like you are. She's a person just like you are. She's not there to serve you. You're to work together, like in a union, like together, embodied together to work towards it. Men are more logical. Men are more like verbs. They, in a masculine energy, when I look at them, and this is where I teach you how to speak, how to word certain words in a sentence, because they all have got numbers and vibrations, and you know that I see everything through sacred geometry and the matrix and the numbers. So when we are saying things like a wounded woman will say it in angry way, why are you doing this for? To men, that's straight away accusation. Please use the wording like this. I don't understand, honey, why. I don't understand, honey, like you've done it, particular things this way. It doesn't sit well with me because of my own insecurities or my own issues, or put it there, why? But talk from your heart rather than, why did you do that for? To a man, that straight away is like, kill off. He walks away. He's not going to talk to you. You wounded him straight away. If we want to have a loving relationship, I put a post this morning about it. It's like, what we put out there in that pot, that's what we get out there. If we're putting all our wounded stuff and all our past experiences in there, we're gonna get more of the past into our present and into our future, because past is familiar. So we are basing everything on the past. So we're creating that in the present and into the future. This is what I'm teaching you, how to not to operate from trauma and how to live. And that's why my freebie on my website talks about boundaries. To me, they're essential. There's something which is absolutely your foundation. Absolutely foundation. And I can talk about the boundaries for hours to end. It's, to me, self-love is so used word. To me, boundaries are self-respect. It's a respect to you as a person. What are you standing for? What do you allow it? And I'm not saying that you need to put your boundaries paper on top of your forehead and walk with them. But when you're vibrating inside of you, what are you standing for? Other people are going to know that. And you will have, and I will teach you, we'll practice these dialogues, how to speak it, and speak it from your heart, not from a wounded point. Not from a wounded point. And don't allow things, because when our boundaries crossed over, when we allow things to happen, our bucket gets too full. What does it happen? We just snap. We snap at the first person who says something, because we're so full of our own things. And that's not fair. That is absolutely not fair. Pull yourself back and observe. I teach you about the self-discovery and observing. But first of all, what we have to always do is look at those scars. Look at those things what happened to you, how we are wounded. We all have got a story. We all do. Nobody didn't have a perfect things. And what happened to us in the childhood, how did we deal with that? And that's why I talk about the parenthood and how we are role models to our children. So if we had, parents behaving certain way, We think that's love. We think that's how married couples are supposed to behave. But is it? The way how you're supposed to be behaving is above your traumas and scars, that you're not operating from them, and from your heart, to be embodied inside of you and inside of your heart. That's how we're supposed to be behaving, and having self-realization. And you can have an argument or discussion, but not in a way of that we're going to be toxic or narcissistic. I think that this is enough for the video, because I don't want to bombard you with too many things. But I gave you enough prompts to think about it over the weekend. Especially end of the year is coming up. I will talk to all my clients when they're coming in for next year, what's going to happen, and especially trying to tune in to them, like what is it that a year is going to be bringing to them. To me, 2020 is like a whole new millennium starting, because we work so much on this particular part, and for people who are absolutely aligned and open to it, it will be like a whole new millennium starting. So I do see a beautiful things happening. Enjoy this weekend. Love and light to everyone. And all of you who have got a homework for this week, please work on it. If you're stuck with a homework, and I call homework home fun, please send it back to me. Let's go and have a look and work through it. And that's the reason why I'm changing my programs, because I will be more hands-on and giving more of my time in between absolutely critical phases of the clients, what they're going through. And some of the sessions are more harder than the others, because working through your mud and hard things what you have got inside of you is not easy. It's not easy, especially when we feel shame and guilt about the things what we've done. So love and light, get back to your homework, sit down today, try to find some quiet spot for yourself, gather your thoughts, rewire if you need to, refocus, regroup. If you're struggling, please send a message. Love and light. You're always supported, you're always loved, and you are incredible. And as I always say, I believe in you.